It's in central Calgary, and it's where the Liberal leader is hoping to hold on to a seat that's been Liberal for a long time. But he's in tough against an NDP cabinet minister in Kathleen Ganley and popular former Calgary broadcaster Angela Kokott. And don't forget about the UCP's Jeremy Wong. A little bit late to the race after Caleb Ford backed out, but he's running for the UCP. Calgary Buffalo, another longtime Liberal stronghold, but Joe Ceci is hoping to hold on to this riding for the NDP. Of course, he was the finance minister under Rachel Notley. So Joe Ceci hoping to hold on to Calgary Buffalo. He didn't run in this riding originally, but he's running it in 2019. We'll see how he does. His key challenger there, likely the UCP's Tom Olson. Greg Clark hoping to hold Calgary Elbow for the Alberta Party. He was their first elected MLA there last time around. He'd like to hold that as well. Alberta Party would like to hold on to this riding. Calgary Southeast. Rick Fraser was elected as a PC. He's Alberta Party now, and he'd like to keep that riding. One more we want to show you, and this is Calgary Acadia. An issue in this riding, the polls opened, a poll opened a little bit late, about half an hour late. So we won't be able to bring results to you for this riding just yet because polls still open there in Calgary Acadia. We'll keep an eye on all of those ridings, bring you results as they come in. Gord, Linda?
Thanks, Jennifer. Well, let's bring in Jamie Dahl now, who's at the NDP headquarters in Calgary.
Jamie, there could be some close races there too tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. 26 ridings up for grabs here. Last time in 2015, the Democrats clinched 15 of them. And they're hoping to hold on to some of those ridings tonight. I'm joined now by Marcella Monroe, former Notley staffer, as well as a communication strategist. Just wondering, how optimistic are you that you're going to hold on to some of those seats here in Calgary? It's a major battleground.
It certainly is. I'm super excited. I mean, I don't like to make predictions the day of. I will say I've noticed a shift in momentum over the last sort of week to 10 days. I think as Calgarians have focused on the election, you know, folks like you and I were kind of engulfed in it for months on end. But I think as they started to look at the real issues, take a look at Mr. Kenney's record, look more closely at those candidates, and then hear directly from from Rachel Notley about her positive view for economic diversification. I think there's been a shift, but we'll see if it's enough tonight. I'm not going to make any predictions.
How is Rachel Notley doing? She sounds a little bit raspy. It's been a long 28 days.
Yeah. So I understand that she's caught a bit of a cold. I was at the rally on Saturday, and you can sure hear it in her voice. I mean, it's definitely more than just a throat scratch that you might get. But, you know, she's typically upbeat. That's just who she is. And what I always like to say to people is that Rachel Notley you see on TV, you know, she's not a very good actor. She's a great politician. She's a great leader for Albertans. But when she's happy and you know it, and you've seen that down the stretch, I think she's been very positive. And so we're very proud of her.
Thank you so much for this. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Back to you guys.
Thanks, Jamie. 812 and some change, and we have our first results in. This is a riding people have been keeping an eye on, Drayton Valley, Devon. We have Mark Smith in the lead at the moment, and of course it's early, so the numbers are leading or elected. You can see on the bottom of your screen, one riding UCP, Mark Smith. And it didn't seem to. Let's head over to David right now for comments on this, because Mark Smith was under fire for those controversy.
He was, and Drayton Valley is not going to go somewhere else. It's going to be conservative. It's just how much does Mark Smith win by? 1% of the polls reporting he's got 79% of the vote. We'll see how that goes tonight. But yeah, obviously Drayton Valley getting the kind of attention it didn't want to get in this particular election. Okay, listen, we've got our touchscreen here, and we've been talking about how in 2015 the NDP benefited from a right-of-center vote in this province that wasn't united, that was split. And this is the greatest example of them all. In Calgary Shaw, one of the closest races in 2015, take a look at the numbers. Graham Sucha, the NDP, he'd win in 2015 with 31% of the vote. The PCs, 30.69%. The Wild Rose, 30.42% of the vote. 30%. Three parties, each taking 30% of the vote. That's crazy. That's unheard of. Now, here's the problem for Graham Sucha tonight. He wants to get reelected, but the blue bar and the green bar are now 1 blue bar. And it's going to start stretching that way, and he's got to pull his numbers way up. Now, well, here's we don't have any results in yet. This is Calgary Shaw this time around. It's a little bigger riding. We've had some boundaries redrawn. There's Graham running against Rebecca Schultz of the UCP. You see the bar there, and that's about it. So Graham Sucher's going to have a tough time getting reelected, even if the NDP were doing really well. We can talk about another riding that was, we just showed it a minute ago. There's Calgary Acadia. Brandy Payne won it in 2015. She's not running again this year, but look at that, 34.72%. Wild Rose, 30%. PC's 30%. Again, green bar and blue bar have now united. And Dwayne Bratt was saying earlier on, we had a panel discussion, that 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2. In other words, you just can't take Wild Rose, add in PC, and get what you're going to get tonight, but it's probably 1.8, 1.5. It's certainly in a lot of these close Calgary ridings, the NDP's under terrific challenge to try to grow their vote, hit some new maximums. It should be a much easier thing for right-of-center parties now to start making a lot of these blue. Do we have anything yet? Not yet from Calgary, just from Drayton Valley, way up there near Edmonton. That's it right there. Drayton Valley, Edmonton. Mark Smith leading for the UCP. Okay, Gord, Linda.
All right, thanks very much, David. We'll talk to you in a little bit. We should just give you some numbers here for radio listeners as well, to just exactly what's going on right now. The polls have closed and results are starting to just trickle in a little bit. But leading and elected, UCP at 2 right now and NDP at 1.
And that's the story. We'll be keeping an eye on those numbers throughout the evening for you. We're going to go to Jennifer Crosby now, who takes a closer look at some of the ridings you're keeping an eye on.